welcome back to the Up and Under podcast. I'm your host, Chris Turner. Here we have a pretty cool guest with us, Matt Absher, the captain of Clemson University Rugby Club. Matt, thank you so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
Yeah, no problem. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No, our pleasure. Our pleasure. So I see you're wearing the sweatshirt, very prideful of the club.
Yeah.
There. You guys are doing pretty well so far in the season. I know you had Sevens tournament right at the beginning of the fall, and that you've played a regular season matchup. How does that really go for your club in season?
So usually our fall is mainly 15s oriented, and we usually have several 15 games in the fall. We have one this weekend against Davenport. That's going to be a big one. And then we also have played Texas A&M and Navy. We beat Texas A&M our first game, and then lost to Navy. But we're looking forward to this matchup against Davenport. Should be a good one.
Definitely. And I know you guys currently right now, as the standings go, you're one of the on the bubble teams, which is a new feature we added, which is, kind of cool to have clubs like yourself know that you're almost there against
Right.
top 10 club in Davenport.
Right.
And again, it's such a cool conference to be a part of. Can you maybe talk a little bit about how tough the Mid-South is and how you prepare as a team?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously the Mid-South is, as we all know, one of the most competitive in collegiate rugby, and the guys that we play against in the Mid-South are definitely, they have the fitness, they have the strength, and they have the support from their school, and that's something that we have to kind of think around, and we like to think of ourselves as a little bit more creative team, a team with the skills, and we try to emphasize our skills more so than the physicality and the fitness that a lot of the teams we play against try to emphasize, because we're not going to beat teams in the Mid-South, just slamming it up the gut every time, trying to be bigger and stronger than them. That's just not how we're going to beat them. So we kind of realized that over the years playing against these teams, and kind of try to adapt our style to use a little bit more of the finesse, emphasize the kicking game, and implement our skill that we know we have when we can, and try to overcome that kind of disparity in usually fitness and athleticism.
For sure. For the audience out there who's listening, what position do you play? And after you talk a little bit about your role within the team, maybe discuss a little bit about your experience and how you got into not only the school, or was it school then rugby, or rugby then school?
Yeah, definitely. So I play flanker, and I actually started out second row, prop, a little bit of everything. Played a little bit of everything in the forward pack, but I really enjoy flanker a lot. It more so than second row, definitely. It's more potential for like get the ball in space, and a little more dynamic playmaking ability at flanker rather than second row. But in terms of how I came to Clemson, I mean, I've always been a fan of Clemson. My older brother actually went here. He graduated 2 years ahead of me in high school, and he got in. So Clemson was always my first choice. There's a really good engineering program as well, and I'm majoring in environmental engineering. So that was that was a big influence in my decision to Clemson, was the engineering program as a whole. And I didn't join rugby until after I got to Clemson. So like I said, I just wanted to do something to stay active. I was always interested in the sport. So when I came to Clemson, I was looking around at some of the club sports like lacrosse and rugby, but lacrosse was really expensive. You had to pay lots of dues, and rugby, it was just interested me, and the guys in the team were really welcoming, and I just felt at home right away, and that's why I stuck with rugby.
Definitely. And I'm sure a lot of people out there share your similar story. And,
Yeah.
walk on a college campus when you're 18, 17, kind of wanting to find a good group to hang out with, whether it's sports or not. But I'm sure your teammates are really glad that you ended up joining.
Yeah.
Uh, of course, you ended up captaining the side, which is kind of a testament to, your potential as an athlete and potential as a rugby player. Like, was there anyone out there that actually saw you and grabbed you and like said you need to play, or is it just like you kind of walk by the booth and they're like, oh,
Well,
seat's big, like let's get
yeah. Funny story, actually. The first day of my math class, freshman year, I'd already kind of had the idea, like, I want to try and find some rugby players, find a meeting or something. First day of my freshman year math class, the guy at sitting table across from me ended up being one of my best friends. He was like, "Yeah, I got recruited here. I'm playing rugby," and I was like, "No way, I'm trying to play too." And then he was like, "Come to this meeting tonight, 7:30," and that's how it started. So the first guy I met in the first class I went to happened to be playing rugby as well. So that's also just like a sign that it's what I should be doing.
That's awesome, man. And
Yeah.
I actually share a similar story to you too. I mean, I had played in high school, so I knew when I went to college I was going to play. But it was like the first it was a dorm meeting, and then, so
Yeah.
it's basically everyone going, all right, here's the rules, here's regulations, blah blah blah. And I walk in and I just see this gargantuan of man. Shout out Dalton Reichen if you're listening out there. He ended up being our prop for a number of years, but I just see this huge guy, just big old muscle and everything, and it's just like, oh, you gonna play rugby? He goes, no, but it sounds fun. Let's do it. And it was just like, yes, like I
Yeah.
love people who are so keen for that. But again, shout out to your homie and who you kind of like both got in the sport together. But that's pretty cool. So, Matt, before we dive into really like the nitty gritty of the season, what Clemson is like as a campus and as a club and everything, what are some like highlights as a new-ish rugby player to you that really stands out from other sports that you played? And I know that you mentioned before we started recording that you played or you did wrestling and football, and you're a really athletic guy. And like, kind of like, what really separates rugby from all those sports, and what makes you love it?
The biggest thing that really stuck out with me is the everybody has more of a role and a broader role on the field than in a lot of sports like football. In football, you have one job and you execute that one job and pretty much do the same thing every play. But the thing I really like about rugby is everyone gets the opportunity to play with ball in hand. Everyone gets the opportunity to run and tackle and catch and really do everything that rugby players do. And so that's why I really fell in love with it is because of the fact that everyone has to have that diverse range of skills. Everyone's got to be skilled with ball in hand rather than just a few of the players. And that's the biggest thing to me is the all around team skill that's required is definitely higher. I feel like than some other sports.
For sure. I mean, isn't that really funny when you play football? And I did as well in high school, but and I was a center, so I was the only one to allowed to touch the ball, right?
Yeah,
Where it's like if there's a fumble, everyone just goes, just go on it. It's like don't try to run. Where in rugby, it's
yeah,
like who cares if you're the biggest guy in the field? Go take it up a few meters. Like who cares? So
yeah.
yeah, right. Like that inclusivity is really important in the game. But
Right. And
for
also, I've
yeah,
always been a big fan of contact sports, tackling and all that stuff. So that's something that came naturally, just part of it's in me. That was definitely something that drew me to the game as well.
100%, man. So, for everyone out there who's really interested about learning more about Clemson, about the school and the campus,
Yeah.
and I know I've seen, or me along with a lot of other people have seen college football Saturdays and the tradition that Clemson has and the absolute
Yeah.
enthusiasm the school has for football and its other sports. Like, can you kind of encompass, the traditions and all those really cool things that go along with the school?
Oh yes, Saturdays in Clemson are something else, man. Let me tell you, like it's really something else when you see 100,000 people flood into this small rural city just for a football game. The environment is unlike anything else. People are so happy. People are just love being there on game days, and it really brings in a great crowd of people. And the tailgating and just the festivities that go on are something else. And one of the coolest traditions of the football is always just watching the guys run down the hill
Yeah,
and playing in Death Valley. Death Valley is a really cool stadium. I haven't been to a whole lot of other college football stadiums, but I don't know, Death Valley, a little biased.
right. No, of
But
course.
yeah, game days are a lot of fun. For someone who hasn't been to Clemson, it's kind of hard to really illustrate what it's like, but you can kind of just feel it in the air. It's different because I feel like than a lot of other colleges because a lot of colleges are in big cities and they already have a lot of people in town. But on game days in Clemson, it's crazy because you start noticing the day before, 2 days before, like the mass amounts of people that are already coming in and causing traffic. And Thursday afternoon, you're stuck on the way home from school. You're like, yeah, there's a game this weekend. Already people coming in, and you'll see people like with their RVs line up, park before the game, even like the day before the game starts, and just the flood of people into the city on game days is it's really special.
That's awesome, man. And does the rugby team have any like really cool traditions or anything that kind of goes around? And Saturday's a big day, obviously, because rugby goes down on Saturdays as well.
That's
Do
right.
y'all get like a good amount of those people coming over, a good mix up, and again, any kind of cool traditions you guys might do?
Well, something we've been trying to do more recently is be out on campus the week of the games and kind of advertise our games a little bit more.
Yeah.
because that's been a big problem with us. Since Clemson's such a big school, a lot of people don't even know that we have a rugby team. And since it's a student-run organization, it's not part of the leg department, so people sometimes overlook it. So that's a lot. What we've been doing is trying to just get our name out there more and just let people know that we're here and we compete at the national level and we need support from our students and our faculty, and that's what we've been trying to do.
Definitely, man. And I know a lot of other clubs that with like big sporting programs also kind of um, try to work around those problems that they have about just getting the name out there, right?
Right.
And so, and is there any? And I know you don't want to give all the secrets away or anything like that, but is there anything where you guys have done creatively to really get more people not only playing with you on the field but coming to watch you? I mean, is there any insight there that others could maybe learn from?
One of the things we've tried to doing is holding some like community events. Like we held a youth event last weekend during our alumni weekend. So we had our it was homecoming weekend. So we had all our alumni in town. We had a youth event. We had some kids come in and play rugby with us while we showed them some stuff. And so that was really helpful. And I think we're trying to do more like community events and try and get that recognition out there. And one of the things we're working on is like a campus activity where we have students sign up for some kind of competition. We haven't really figured it out yet, but we're trying to do something like that,
Right.
and so just kind of get people on campus, to do something like that.
Just
That'd
like
be good.
really interactive and really
Right.
engaging with the college crowd. I mean, yeah, I mean it's you're totally right there, and it's kind of cool to know that you're a really good club and have good history, and it's kind of an easy sell, right? Where
Right.
especially from coming from Clemson, I mean, at least within my knowledge of the club, y'all have been essentially at the top of a name chart for a long time. It's always Clemson's really good at sevens. Their 15s program is really strong. They always compete. They always have really good players. They're always well coached. So and it's just really cool to see all that kind of hopefully come to a spearhead and get more people involved within the sport. But hopefully something like this could really put the name out there for you guys, and that's
Yeah,
all we'll try to do.
definitely. And on that last note, I have been very fortunate to have Steve Lynch as my coach since I came here freshman year. But now we're kind of in a weird situation because Steve retired at the end of last year, and right now we actually don't have a coach. So it's just me, the captain, my roommate, the other captain, and we have one of our students, like one of our former players, who's got his level 200 coaching certification. Like he's our coach on paper. Like we really don't have a coach right now. So that's why everything we're doing is really just like it's on us. Like we have to like make sure all of our teammates are out there at practice, and we don't have that coach figure kind of helping us out right now, and that's why it's been a little difficult, not gonna lie, this semester, but we're working through it, and we're hoping to bring someone in next semester.
That's incredible, man. And I know, again, testament, shout out to you guys for really taking the charge on that and making sure that the club remains at that successful level. And again, and I know you'll probably do the best you can in finding that coach, and will find that coach in the future. But that, if you don't mind, can we maybe dive in a little bit about this situation? Because I'm sure a lot of other clubs in the nation are currently going through this. I know I did my senior year. Unfortunately, on my spring season, which was my graduating season, we
Mm-hmm.
also went coachless for that semester, and it was really tough to juggle that. Even though we had dropped down to D1 double A, it wasn't at the D1A level, and it wasn't with all this expectation to go along with it.
Yeah.
Can you maybe dive into a little bit of how you guys are juggling that with a school and jobs and everything else?
Yeah, it's hard, and thankfully, a lot of this stuff, like for example, like our schedule had already been made last year when Steve was still here. But the biggest issue is kind of like our lack of money, really, because we don't really have enough money to fully guarantee a coach, and it's kind of hard to convince someone to move to Clemson, South Carolina, rural town for rugby when you can't guarantee a full salary. So that's been the biggest challenge because since with the whole Clemson University student organization policies, they've cut down on funding for student organizations, and we're recognized as a club of Clemson students, but we're not recognized as a Clemson University club. And so that's like a finite detail that's really important because it basically prevents the school from supporting us in more than a little bit. So like it's difficult because we have to pay for a coach, not the school. And our alumni who donate a lot of money to us. Shout out to the CRF, Clemson Rugby Foundation, and they are really in our backbone of our organization. They kind of help organize what's going on with us, and they help raise money. And so that's definitely the backbone of our organization is the Clemson Rugby Foundation. Without them, we'd just be a bunch of students with no adult support, really.
Right.
So that they really help us out in the decision making processes, the financial management and stuff like that.
Definitely. And what was the foundation's name again, so I can put it?
ClemsonRugbyFoundation.org.
Okay, so if everyone out there is, wanting to donate to this awesome club in school, or not school, but this club, I'm going to put it right down here for y'all to hit the link and go to that, because
That would be awesome. Thank you.
No problem, man. It's literally the least we could do to put at least your name out there and try to help the cause, because this is a serious thing about rugby in the United States, where we aren't like a tier 1 sport, right? We kind of have to fight for our own food a lot of the times, which, again, testament to the people who do go through that and come out better on the other side. So hopefully y'all can find a coach by next semester. I know we'll try to put all the good juju toward you guys for that, but again, man, that's really cool that you guys are doing that, and I'm sure a lot of people on your team and probably that heard about this really respect you for doing that.
Appreciate that.
No worries, man. So yeah, that was pretty crazy, but I didn't expect that to happen. But anyway, so let's talk about this upcoming matchup and upcoming season that y'all have within the fall, and then a little bit trickling into the spring, I'd assume, correct?
So I missed the first part of your question. You just asked me to go over my season a little bit.
Oh yeah, sorry. For all the audience out there, we're going through some Wi-Fi things right now, but yeah. So I was just kind of asking about your upcoming matchup against Davenport. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then the upcoming fall campaign season that you have that I assume will trickle into the spring, correct?
Yes. Okay. So our next 15s matches this weekend against Davenport. We play Davenport every year the past 3 years. It's usually a pretty good matchup. I'm excited about that. We're definitely. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to play. I've got kind of a bum ankle, so hopefully I can get that wrapped up and stable on Saturday.
Yeah.
But come spring, we have 3 15s matches in February. In fact, it's 3 matches in a row. It's Arch State, Life, Lindenwood. So 3 top 5 teams 3 weeks in a row in February. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough month for sure.
Yeah,
but thankfully we'll have several months off before that to get healthy and get right. Yep. But I'm definitely excited for 7 season. Even though I may look like more of a 15s player, I like 7s more.
And again, don't consider yourself a 15s guy. I don't know if you know a guy named Danny Barrett on the circuit.
Yeah, that's true.
That literally looks like he could be, an ex-Viking, and is just playing out there, just busting people out in the 7th circuit. So don't discount yourself as a 7s guy. I'm sure they need plenty of bruisers like yourself out there.
That's true. Yeah, Danny Barrett is a beast, and it's a good 7th player too.
Definitely, man. Well, I know we got a few minutes here left. I kind of want to do some fun off the cuff questions for you, maybe wrap up a little bit, have the people understand your rugby experience a little bit more. But non-rugby related question first. I know South Carolina and essentially, that the South, and then a little bit of Tennessee-ish area, y'all got some great barbecue out there. What's your favorite local dish, or your pregame dish that you have to carb up or meet up?
Most famous spot in Clemson. Well, it's actually in Pendleton, but real close to Clemson. In fact, Kirk Herbstreit, when he came here for college game day last year, said it was the best barbecue he ever had. It's called the Smokin' Pig. It's only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Only open 3 days a week. And so those 3 days of the week, it's super busy. But I think the reason it's only open 3 days a week is because they smoke their meat all week long. So that come Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's the most tender, delicious barbecue you've ever had. It's amazing. So the Smokin' Pig, if you're ever in South Carolina, it'd be worth a drive for sure.
I'm so glad I ate lunch before this because I would definitely be running down the street to just eat anything because I love barbecue and again, if I was playing at Clemson right now, I'd probably be gaining more than a freshman 15. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
But that's awesome, man. Shout out to the Smoking Pig, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. Hey, free advertising for y'all. But oh, sorry. So leading up to game day, that's awesome meal that you have, or at least really good availability for barbecue like that. But so leading into the game day, are you more of a superstitious guy? Do you like to have rituals, or are you more like a cool, calm, and collected character?
Yeah, I'm not big into superstitions really. I kind of just like to stay relaxed, stay calm by listening to music and just trying to get myself in the zone mentally. And a lot of what our old coach taught us were kind of like some breathing exercises to kind of help just center yourself and kind of what they. So our coach Steve Lynch's wife is a psychologist, and so she taught us these breathing exercises to kind of help center yourself. And essentially, it's supposed to bring the decision making back into yourself, because when your heart's beating really fast and your blood's pumping, like you kind of just react off instinct. But by breathing deeply and kind of controlling your heart rate a little bit, you can kind of make yourself make decisions rather than just act naturally. And that's something I try to do, is trying to lower my heart rate a little bit, take some deep breaths. And I do that, after breaks in the games too, just kind of get myself where I need to be mentally.
Dang. All right. I see you, Matt. Just more like centering your chi and trying to get instead of just having that wired mind where a lot of people could thrive off of. But yeah, it's really cool that you really like to center yourself and have that low heartbeat, which is, again, a lot of people could really learn from that kind of meditation. But anyway, leading on to the next funny question I got, are you more of and I know from old school to a new school type of rugby, there's really been a lot of changes in the socks. Are you a high sock wearer, low sock, no sock? What's your style?
Definitely high sock.
Definitely high sock.
The high socks always just slide down to low socks after like 5 minutes. You got to start with the high socks, though, for sure.
Good man. I just think it's an abomination to have no socks, or at least rugby, and just have like your ankle shown. It's like, it's just a look we need to go back to the old school, in my personal opinion, of course. Anyway, leading on to the next question. If you had a magic wand in your hand, and with the flick of your wrist, one of the positions on the field disappeared.
Okay.
Now, we're not talking specific teammates or players, just so Clemson club, but just
honestly, I would say 8-man. I feel like Shrums would be better with just 7 people.
Nice. I kind of dig that, though. I've heard a couple take the blind side flank out because there's a little bit more room to run on the weak side. Yeah. But 8-man, it's because they're holding in the locks, which the locks hold in the front row, right? So it's almost like putting more emphasis on the locks too.
True.
But that's cool. Yeah. No 8, and again, that's kind of weird how the 8-man's just called the 8-man. Like,
yeah, it doesn't have an actual position name like every other number. It is kind of weird. I wonder who came up with that.
It's definitely worth a Google. I mean, but yeah, we'll find that out and see what we could find from the history books. All right, last question here, Matt, before we let you go and off to your studies and practice and everything you got under your belt. But if you could change one rule about the game, what would you change and why?
One rule. Okay. Well, I would change so when they changed the rule that states when you make a tackle and you get back to your feet, you have to get back on sides before you can poach the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I would go back to the old rule where that you make the tackle, you stand up, you release, and then you can go for the ball. I think I like that because it makes it easier to poach, which is, can be seen as a good thing or bad thing. But I would change that rule, I think, because I really like going for the ball when I can. It's really satisfying when you just take the ball from them on defense and you just get there to the tackle player before their support does. So that's really satisfying. So yeah, that's probably the rule I would change.
That is the most flanker answer I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it's funny too when I ask people that question. It's always more like their old position or their current position central, and then like that one's like, yeah, no offsides. Let's just let us steal the ball all day. I love it. Well, hopefully one day, maybe in the future, they'll be a little bit more lenient. But for the time being, the gate's still there. So, but hopefully you'll be able to jackal the ball and get some turnover for your team. But yeah, anyway, before we sign off and everything, you have like the next couple minutes to give shout outs to anyone out there, give thanks to anyone, or just kind of, throw a name. But yeah, the table's yours, my man.
All right. Well, I'll just start off by saying shout out to my parents for bringing me here to Clemson. I couldn't really be here without them. They've been my number one supporters my whole life, and truly be grateful for them. Grateful of that forever. And also, shout out to Steve Lynch, our former coach. He taught me everything I know about rugby, so I wouldn't be here without him.
Great, man. Well, thank you so much for your time, Matt. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the club really appreciates it. And good luck to your incredibly difficult conference season, and then, your upcoming match against Davenport. I don't know if we'll be able to get this recording out before that game, but hopefully it'll go in the favor of the Tigers, but we shall see. We shall see.
All right. Well, thanks so much for having me. It was great talking to you.
Of course, man. And hopefully we do this again sometime. Really enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
All right, man. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you're in the Clemson, South Carolina area, go check out the game against Davenport. And what time is it? This is
1 p.m. at our field at the pier. Called the National Athletic Village Field at the pier, 1 p.m.
Great. Oh, and before I forget, before we sign off, I'm going to put all the links to all the Clemson rugby social accounts and website and how to get in club or contact with the club if any players out there interested, anything like that. And always try to, plug it in for the team. So, but yeah, if y'all are interested, hit up the team on Facebook, and I'm sure they'll respond to you ASAP. But anyway. Thank you again, Matt. Really appreciate it, man, and good luck this season or this season.
Have a good one.
All right, you too, man. See ya.